Himachal Pradesh forest cover. India is a land of many natural resources. The area under natural vegetation is one of the prime resources for the country's economy and also for the production of many materials. The forest cover in India is 67.71 million hectares, which is 20.6% of its entire geographical area. Of this, 5.46 million hectares, which is 1.66%, is very dense forests. 33.26 million hectares, which is 10.12%, is moderately dense. And the rest, 28.99 hectares, which is 8.82%, is open, including 0.44 million hectares of mangroves. The percentage of forest cover in the hilly regions of the country is 38.85%. And by excluding areas unavailable for plant growth like the snow-clad areas of the country, it comes to 52.4%. In India, the forest resources are well distributed across the country. The state of Madhya Pradesh has the largest area of 7.6 million hectares under forest cover, constituting 11.22% of the total forest cover, followed by Arunachal Pradesh, 10.01%, Chhattisgarh, 8.25%, Orissa, 7.15%, and Maharashtra, 7.01%. In general, the northeastern Himalayan states alone maintain over 75% forest cover in India. Mizoram, 88.63%, Nagaland, 82.75%, Arunachal Pradesh, 80.93%, Tripura, 77.77%, and Manipur, 76.53%. The term forest cover refers to all lands more than 1 hectare in area with a tree canopy density of more than 10%, irrespective of ownership and legal status. Such lands may not necessarily be a recorded forest area and may include orchards, bamboo, and palm. The word canopy in forests refers to the cover of branches and foliage formed by the crowns of trees. The canopy density relates to the percent area of land covered by the canopy of trees. It is expressed as a decimal coefficient, taking closed canopy as a unit. The culturable non-forest area is the net geographical area lying outside recorded forest and forest cover, which can support tree vegetation. Forest inventory is the measurement of certain parameters of forests to assess the growing stock and other characteristics of forests. The term moderately dense forest refers to lands with forest cover having a canopy density between 40 to 70%. Non-forest land is the land without forest cover. The term open forest refers to the lands with forest cover having a canopy density between 10 to 40%. In India, protected forest is the area notified under the provisions of the Indian Forest Act or other state forest acts having limited degree of protection. In protected forests, all activities are permitted unless prohibited. The term scrub is used to denote a degraded forest land having a canopy density of less than 10%. Trees are large woody perennial plants having a single well-defined stem, bole or trunk, and a more or less definite crown. They include bamboos, palms, fruit trees, etc., and exclude non-perennial, non-woody species like banana and tall shrubs or climbers. The term very dense forest is used to refer to lands with forest cover having a canopy density of 70% and above. The state of Himachal Pradesh is one of the states of India having a good percentage of forest cover. Himachal Pradesh, predominantly a mountainous state in the western Himalayas, has a geographical area of 55,673 square kilometers. The altitude of the state varies from 350 meters to 6,975 meters above mean sea level. Himachal Pradesh is located between latitudes 30 degrees 22 and 30 degrees 12 north and longitudes 75 degrees 45 to 79 degrees 4 east. Himachal Pradesh has three distinct regions: the Shivaliks with altitudes up to 1,500 meters, the middle Himalayan region between 1,500 to 3,000 meters, and the Himadris that are higher than 3,000 meters. About 1/3 of the state is permanently under snow, glaciers, and cold deserts where tree growth is minimal due to these harsh conditions. The average annual rainfall is about 1,800 millimeters. The temperature varies from sub-zero to 35 degrees centigrade. The major rivers of Himachal Pradesh are Sutlej, Beas, Ravi, Chenab, and the Yamuna. Considering its size, a wide range of climatic variations is observed in the state. The climate of the state of Himachal Pradesh varies from moist subtropical in the north bordering the Himalayas to arid in the southern part bordering Rajasthan. The annual rainfall varies from 213 millimeters in the southwest to 1,400 millimeters in the northeast. While the temperature ranges between 1 degree centigrade to 45 degrees centigrade. The land use pattern of the state has shown that the reported area of land utilization is 45 lakhs and 45,000 million hectares. The reporting area for land utilization in Himachal Pradesh is 4.54 million hectares. The forests cover an area of about 1.101 million hectares, which is 24.22% of the land area. The land not available for cultivation in Himachal Pradesh is about 1.13 million hectares, which is about 24.86% of the total land area. In Himachal Pradesh, permanent pastures and other grazing lands occupy about 1.5 million hectares, which is about 33.03%. Land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves is about 69,000 hectares, which is about 1.52%. The cultivable wasteland in Himachal Pradesh is about 1,27,000 hectares. Fallow lands other than current fallows occupy about 14,000 hectares. Current fallows occupy about 60,000 million hectares, which is almost 1.32%. The net area sown in Himachal Pradesh is about 0.543 million hectares, 11.9% of the total area. Recorded forest areas in the state amount to 37,033 square kilometers. Reserved forests constitute 5.13%, protected forests 89.27%, and unclassed forests 5.6% of the total forest area. About 2/3 of the state's geographical area is under recorded forests. But a substantial part of this is not conducive for tree growth, being under permanent snow, glaciers, and cold deserts. The protected areas include both national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Himachal Pradesh has 2 national parks and 33 wildlife sanctuaries, covering an area of 0.76 million hectares, which constitute 13.65% of the state's geographical area. The Great Himalayan National Park is famous for the elusive and mysterious snow leopard. The state of Himachal Pradesh adopts joint forest management practices. Started in 1993, the joint forest management endeavor in the state has about 11% of the forest area under it. There are 1,690 joint forest management committees managing 0.42 million hectares of forest land as on March 2005. About 2,65,000 families are involved in the joint forest management, of which 36,000 families belong to the scheduled tribes. The forest cover in the state, based on an interpretation of satellite data, is 14,668 square kilometers, which is 26.35% of the state's geographical area. In terms of forest canopy density classes, the state has 3,224 square kilometers of very dense forest, 6,383 square kilometers of moderately dense forest, and 5,061 square kilometers of open forest. The distribution of forest cover of the state is shown in this map. The district-wise details are as follows. The district of Bilaspur. The geographical area of the hilly district of Bilaspur is 1,167 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 362 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest cover is 24 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 171 square kilometers, with open forest cover found in an area of 167 square kilometers. The district of Chamba. Geographical area of Chamba is 6,522 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 2,436 square kilometers. Out of this, very dense forest cover is 853 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 773 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found to be 810 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found in an area of 37 square kilometers. The district of Hamerpoor. The geographical area of Hamerpoor in Himachal Pradesh is 1,118 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 245 square kilometers. Out of this, very dense forest cover is 39 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 92 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found to be 114 square kilometers. Altogether, these forests cover about 21.91% of the geographical area of the state. The Kangra district. The geographical area of Kangra is 5,739 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 2,062 square kilometers. Out of this, very dense forest cover is 310 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 1,221 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found to be 531 square kilometers. Scrub cover encompasses an area of 11 square kilometers. The district of Kinnor. The geographical area of Kinnor is 6,401 square kilometers. The total forest area in Kinnor district is 602 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest cover is 82 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 263 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found to be 257 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found to be 70 square kilometers here. The district of Kulu. The geographical area of Kulu is 5,503 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 1,958 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest cover is 586 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 789 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found to be 583 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found in an area of 23 square kilometers. The district of Lahaul and Spiti. Geographical area of Lahaul and Spiti is 13,841 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 193 square kilometers here, out of which very dense forest covers 15 square kilometers. The moderate to dense forest cover here is 32 square kilometers. The open forest cover is found to be 146 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found in an area of 31 square kilometers. The district of Mandi. The geographical area of Mandi is 3,950 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 1,673 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest cover constitutes 373 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 735 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found in an area of 565 square kilometers, with scrub cover comprising 29 square kilometers. The district of Shimla. The geographical area of Shimla is 5,131 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 2,384 square kilometers. Out of this, very dense forest covers 739 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest covers 1,037 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found in an area of 608 square kilometers. Scrub cover makes up 32 square kilometers. the district of Syrmar. The geographical area of Syrmar district is 2,825 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 1,383 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest covers an area of 130 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 568 square kilometers, with open forest cover covering 685 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found to be 56 square kilometers in area. The district of Solan. The geographic area of Solan in Himachal Pradesh is 1,936 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 849 square kilometers. Out of this, very dense forest covers 55 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 404 square kilometers, while the open forest cover is found to be 390 square kilometers. Scrub cover is found to be 38 square kilometers. The district of Una. The geographical area of Una district of Himachal Pradesh is 1,540 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 521 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest covers an area of 18 square kilometers. Moderate to dense forest cover is 298 square kilometers, while open forest cover is found to be 205 square kilometers. The geographical area of all the districts of Himachal Pradesh is 55,673 square kilometers. The total forest cover is 14,668 square kilometers, out of which very dense forest covers an area of 3,224 square kilometers. The area with moderate to dense forest cover is 6,383 square kilometers. Open forest cover is found in an area of 5,061 square kilometers. Scrub cover makes up 327 square kilometers. The top 6 districts in terms of forest cover in the state of Himachal Pradesh, assessed in square kilometers, are Chamba, 2,436, Shimla, 2,384, Kangda, 2,062, Kullu, 1,958, Mandi, 1,673, and Syrmar, 1,383. Let us now see the altitude zone-wise forest cover in the state of Himachal Pradesh. The altitude zone-wise forest cover is seen as follows. Between altitudes 0 and 500 meters, very dense forest covers 13 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers 424 square kilometers. Open forest covers 311 square kilometers. All types put together, it is about 748 square kilometers. Between altitudes 500 and 1,000 meters, very dense forest covers an area of about 237 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers an area of about 1,594 square kilometers. Open forest covers an area of about 1,148 square kilometers, and all types put together amount to 2,979 square kilometers. Between altitudes 1,000 and 2,000 meters, very dense forest covers an area of about 569 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers an area of about 1,479 square kilometers. Open forest covers an area of about 1,470 square kilometers, and all types put together amount to 3,518 square kilometers. Between altitudes 2,000 and 3,000 meters, very dense forest covers an area of about 1,860 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers an area of about 1,950 square kilometers. Open forest covers an area of about 1,124 square kilometers, and all types put together amount to 4,934 square kilometers. Above an altitude of 3,000 meters, very dense forest covers an area of about 545 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers an area of about 936 square kilometers. Open forest covers an area of about 1,008 square kilometers, and all types put together amount to an area of 2,489 square kilometers. In the state of Himachal Pradesh, in all these altitudinal zones, very dense forest covers an area of about 3,224 square kilometers. Moderately dense forest covers an area of about 6,383 square kilometers. Open forest covers an area of about 5,061 square kilometers, and all types put together, they amount to 14,668 square kilometers. The state of Himachal Pradesh has 35 different forest types as per the Champion and SITS classification system of 1968. They belong to 8 type groups, and they are tropical moist deciduous, tropical dry deciduous, subtropical pine, Himalayan moist temperate, Himalayan dry temperate, subalpine forests, moist alpine scrub, and dry alpine scrub. The estimated tree cover in the state is 638 square kilometers, which is 1.15% of the entire geographical area of the state. Forests have always been of great importance to human beings on this planet. Today, people depend on forests, especially for their economic value, their environmental value, and their value for culture and recreation. The science of forestry is concerned with increasing and preserving these values by careful management of the available forest lands in any country. Let us all protect the forest areas of India.